for Courtenay-Alberni.
Madam Speaker, this is a very important bill, and important that it addresses truth and reconciliation, call to action number 79, and ensures there's going to be Indigenous representation, Madam Speaker, on the Historic Sites and Monuments Board from First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. Now, Madam Speaker, I just came from Sachat Nation, where they announced the findings of unmarked graves of children that attended the Alberni Indian Residential School, and they made it unequivocally clear that Canada, BC, churches and others fully fund all memorialization projects, including Alberni Indian Residential School survivors, as a priority of a memorial with the names of all students who attended Alberni Indian Residential School, with a gazebo, and more like these seen as in war memorials, Madam Speaker, and that they fund survivors' headstones. And one survivor paraphrased in a quote, "If Canada can help pay for headstones for veterans, why can't they pay for our warriors, our survivors who had to go through the war of the residential schools?" Through you, Madam Speaker, to my colleague, does she agree that Canada needs to step forward and go beyond this here today and ensure that they fund the calls for truth and justice from the Sachat people and other nations that had Indian residential schools placed on their lands without permission, and they're caretakers now of having to uphold the healing process that needs to happen? Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Manicouagan. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank my honourable colleague for his question. Of course, what his question addressed is not directly linked to the current bill. However, everything can change in a bill. So yes, certain powers are granted to the minister, but there's not really the same spending powers. However, as I do agree completely with the fact that we need to fund research and go even further than truth and reconciliation. It has to be done and done quickly, because there are sites that are disappearing. So these places of memory are not necessarily internal. So we need to respect the people who have this memory, who hold this memory, and so we have to do this very quickly in consultation, as I said, with the Indigenous people, so that they are full-fledged stakeholders in this process. Resuming debate.